Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. I'm your co-host for today, Mike Bailey, along with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Hey, how are you?
Good,
Good,
good.
good. Gardening's going fine, right?
Yes, in some ways, yes.
Yes. Well, that's a good answer. Probably the same answer for all of us. Good in
Uh-huh.
some ways and not so good in others.
Not so
That's
good in others.
that's
Yep.
just typical of a gardener's response. So, but today
Mm-hmm.
we want to talk about organic gardening.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do this over 3 sessions. And so it's really going to be we're going to be pulling a lot of the things that we talked about in the past kind of together, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of
Mm-hmm.
summarize them and stuff like that. So this is
Right.
done for not only experienced gardeners, but also a lot of novice gardeners because we've been asked to do something like this. So we figured, well, we probably should then, okay.
Right.
But, you know, some introductory comments about this whole thing. I guess
Okay.
part of my idea is I don't like to make gardening hard. I like to keep it enjoyable. And
Uh-huh.
organic gardening is a skill that you learn. Hey, as you're going through this whole process, you make mistakes, just as you and I make mistakes with our gardens, and for all practical purposes, they're organic gardens that
Mm-hmm.
you and I both do. Excuse me.
Right.
So, you know, I ask people, what are you looking for when you're talking about an organic gardening? Are you looking for maybe healthier produce, safer produce for your family, etc., which is a wonderful idea. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
or do you want to protect the environment? Yes, and another very lofty goal. Okay, that we should be concerned about. Okay, we want to do that by maybe eliminating or cutting back on the use of some of these synthetic pesticides and herbicides that we currently use. And we also
Mm-hmm.
want to keep in mind that we really want to maintain healthy soil, which is so very important. So let's do a little bit of history. Okay,
Okay.
prior to the 1900s, okay, these synthetic pesticides and herbicides were really kind of not heard of. Okay, so in essence, we were all probably organic gardeners, except for the fact that we didn't take very good care of the soil back then. We didn't understand the science, okay, of keeping soil healthy. And we all remember the pictures and the stories about dust bowls, et cetera, and stuff like that,
Right.
where
Mm-hmm.
they didn't take proper care of the soil. You know, then as time went on, okay, the magic of science took over, and we moved into a new age of solving problems with some kind of easy solution, um, to quickly resolve our pest and disease issues. That's what we tried, anyways. And then
Mm-hmm.
around 1940, there started to be a little bit of concern about, okay, how is this? Is this healthy for all of us and healthy for our environment? And then World War II kind of threw things off track a little bit. But
Right.
about 20 years later, in the early 60s, when Rachel Carson came out with her book Silent Springs, the whole movement got a lot of momentum from that, which in her book focused on the safe use of pesticides and herbicides. And that movement has continued to gain a lot of momentum as we moved into the future here. So, in regards to organic gardening, we thank everybody for their interest in this particular topic and knowing that you want to be part of the solution, and that is absolutely wonderful. But,
Mm-hmm.
let's kind of move on with this whole topic here. So, what is the
Okay.
key to organic gardening, Ellen?
Well, primarily it's healthy plants.
Healthy
Okay.
plants. Bingo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Bingo. That's it. Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
how do we get to that healthy plant component? I,
Okay.
there's probably two or three different keys to that, isn't there?
Right. There's three basic important elements, and the first one is to make sure you have a sunny location where you ask yourself, where can I get the best sunlight? Because sun-loving crops, which are most vegetables, need at least 7 to 9 hours of direct sunlight. And that's usually between the hours of 9 o'clock in the morning and 7 p.m. in the evening. Um, Now, your greens are basically shade tolerant and they can deal with 4 to 6 hours of sun. But remember, there's really no substitute for direct sunlight. So
Absolutely.
make sure you
Absolutely.
pick the correct location.
You know, and soil is the other one of the other keys, the second
Mm-hmm.
key. Healthy
Mm-hmm.
soil, rich in organic material, is the foundation of good, healthy plants. And it takes time to get to that particular point. Our
Right.
soil, as it currently exists in most of our yards, is not loaded with organic material. That's something that you're going to need to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Add to the soil to build it up over a period of time to get to the soil, get your soil to the point where it's going to be, optimal, okay, for growing vegetables. And
Mm-hmm.
what's below the ground really kind of determines really what's above the ground. So you got to keep that in
Yep.
mind. So, but what
Okay.
about what about water and drainage, Ellen?
Well, many of your plants need about an inch of water every week, especially during the fruiting season, when they're developing your fruit, because if you know, fruit's primarily water. Um, so when you choose your site, make sure you have a supplemental water source available. You don't want to be carrying water in jugs out to your garden. Hopefully, you have a hose connection available. Um, but remember also that too much water is just as bad because you don't want your plants to stand in wet soil. They're not going to thrive and they will be very susceptible to soil diseases. So, and remember, watering your plants, do it at the base of the plant as much as possible, not overhead, because you don't want to be watering the foliage. You want to be watering the roots of your plant.
Okay, so organic gardening is almost that
Hmm.
simple. If you
Right.
do these three basic components well, you're well on your way to, being very good at organic gardening. Picking the
Hmm.
right location where there's appropriate amount of sun for the plants that you want to grow, so that in enriching the soil with organic material to keep it good
Hmm.
and healthy, and then making sure that you have access to supplemental water and you have good drainage. Boy,
Hmm.
those three components are just, you know, the key to everything, key to that healthy
Really, it
plants.
is. Uh-huh.
So,
Hmm.
Ellen, we've used our time for today, so we're going to pick up on
Okay.
this on the next session also. So, thank you for
Okay.
listening.